welcome to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to have a look at Bitcoin. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so primary way I'm still looking at this is as a WX and a Y. We do have a potential where we could actually start to break down in a bigger 5-wave move, which we will go over. But what I'm looking for here is that either we are actually completed this X wave here and we're looking to push down towards this 1-to-1, which is actually sitting here towards this 24,229. Now we do have some other targets here, the 786 at this 25,191, the 854 here towards this 24,881, and then we also do have this little target box down here towards this 24,821 to this 24,688. Now if we are looking to break down directly from this point, what we would be arguing is that we have a 3-wave move in play, and what we would be looking for here is that effectively we were already in this Y wave. We would be saying that we're looking for this as an A wave to the downside, a B wave, and then looking for the C wave. Now we could also argue that potentially within the structure here we could put this B wave into this place here, but this would then mean that we have a 5-wave move that's still looking to extend out. And because of how deep we've come down here, I'm not really a fan of looking at it in this way. It would make a lot more sense to me that this is W, this is X, and then we actually have a Y wave to the downside, which can't actually be within this Y wave, which could mean that we're still within the bigger X wave. So we're going to go over that in a second. But nevertheless, our target here is the 1-to-1 here at this 24,411. So if we do start to break down in a bigger way here, potentially what we could see is price be gravitated towards these levels. Now we have already come down to this 0.618 level of this A wave here. So, you know, technically speaking, it could be completed, but looking at the structure, I mean, we could argue 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then that's actually just a completed move. But we'll have to see whether we can actually break back above these highs of this 26,814 level, and then finally this higher high here of this 27,397. Until we actually break it above these, we need to be cautious of that potential of continuation and extension to the downside. So this would be a very interesting target. We do see that the 854s are lining up quite nicely here, so I would be interested to see if we do see a price breakdown to the bottom of this channel, how we react from this zone towards this 24,672. Okay, so now if we are not completed this B wave though, what we could still be looking for is a 3-wave move to the upside. And what we're looking for this is effectively looking at this as an A, this is a B, and this is a C. Now, given the current structure here, we could argue this is completed, where we say that this is just A, B, and C into this low. But really, until we actually take these highs, like I said, we need to be cautious that we don't just continue to extend to the downside. At the moment, this just does seem to be corrective to the upside. So it is possible we could have this as ABC if we get a 5-wave move to the upside here. Or alternatively, what we could have is that this could be a W wave from over here, where we look at this as ABC for a flat. Though, once again, like I said previously, it would be a very extended C wave. Then we'd be looking at this as a B wave to the downside here, and then looking for this, you know, C wave to the upside as a 5-wave move. Otherwise, we could have it a W, X, and Y in a 3-wave move to the upside. So the targets will remain the same. This 1-to-1 would be a very interesting level to me, potential triple top over here, and possibly coming back and, you know, swing failing this area. Alternatively, if we do see price actually look to push to the upside even higher here, what we could actually see is price rather be pushed up towards this 1236 or this 1382. So the 1236 would actually be back here into this top channel. We do have a target box up here as well between this 28,039 to this 27,938 level. So I'd be interested to see how price actually develops. For as long as we hold this low here of this 25,351, what we could potentially see is still a 5-wave move where this becomes 1, 2, and then we start to see this bigger push to the upside here for this wave 3. Now, the reason I am not that keen on this, given the current structure, is we don't seem to have good structure here anymore. The only way that this would work, given the current structure, is that if this is forming some kind of a diagonal pattern here, where this is wave 1, 2, we'd get a 3, and 3 waves, 4, and then a 5. And then we'd be looking to break down and find support, and then looking to push up. That's what I'd be looking at given the current structure. So it is looking very unlikely at this point, and rather it's becoming more likely that we're still within a corrective move here. So we're going to discuss that now. So this is still possible technically until we actually break down past this 25,351. But if we do look to push down past this level, we can't look at this idea of having this as a bigger flat correction here for this X wave. So the way we were talking about that was actually that we're looking at this move in this way, where we have this as an A, looking for this as a B, and then looking for this as a C wave. Now, technically speaking, even if we do break down here one more time, we could still be within this flat where we actually treat this in this way, where this is an A, this is a B, and then we would see that C to the upside. Now, we have actually come down to the 1-to-1, as we can see here, as an A, B, C. Now, if we look to extend out deeper here, what we could see is price be gravitated towards the zone as 1236 of the A wave, which is sitting here towards this 25,225. This would align with the 1236 of this move as an A, B, and a C to the downside. Now, given the current structure, it does look like it could potentially be completed, but if we do see another push down here, we'll be keeping an eye on these levels, including this zone here of this 1618. If we move down past this 1618 at this 24783, what we need to be aware of is there's a potential that we could be extending out. But if we do actually look to find support here, now this would be a very common target as a expanding flat, this 24,870. What we could then still be looking for is this C wave to the upside just at a later date. So we need to just be aware that even if we do sweep these lows here, it doesn't necessarily invalidate this idea of potentially getting a flat correction here. So I would be very cautious until we actually start to break down in a bigger way and start to break past this 24,870. What we could actually see is that this is still part of that X wave. Now, the reason that I'm looking for this is that if we're looking at this as an A, this is a B, and then looking for the C wave to the upside, what we can see here is that the 1-to-1 time of this as an A wave is actually over here towards the 15th of June, 1 o'clock in the morning. Now, if we are still within a bigger B wave here, this could actually look for equality to this A wave. Now, if we do see price actually push down one more time here, and this becomes WX, and then we get A, B, and C, what we could then do is actually look to retest this channel, look to find equality here, and then still see this C wave play to the upside here. So now the key thing here is if I throw on the other comparison in time, which would be of this as a W wave here, what we can see then is that that could potentially look to push us closer towards this time zone here of this 1.618 of this B wave, of this W wave here. So this X wave could actually look to, potentially either complete at a 1382 or a 1618 of the W wave in time. So this is just something that we're keeping an eye on here. If we do see price come back down here in 3 waves, and then we see price move back to the upside in a 5-wave move. Now the key thing is here is if we get a 5-wave move here, price would then need to take this low to confirm the flat. So that's going to be the key thing moving forward. If we do see a push to the upside, what I'll then be looking for is confirmation that this is a flat by taking the low point. And then basically what we're looking for currently, given the current structure here, is that if we are looking at this as a potential expanding flat, our target would be this 29,669 to this 28,588. Like I said, though, at the moment there isn't good structure here to count an impulse. It could develop into something, but currently it does not look good. It just looks like a corrective move to the upside, so need to just be aware of that. So if we're looking at this as a B wave here, what we're looking for is effectively this count that we were talking about previously, is instead of getting a move to the upside here, it's ABC. What we could be having is that this is just W, this is X, and then we actually see this C wave play out. Now this C wave was be actually looking for this 24,411 as that 1-to-1, but like I said, if we are looking at this as a flat correction here, potentially this 24,870 would be an interesting zone. Now this would also be looking to actually bring us down into that 0.854 area, so I'd be keeping an eye on this level if we do see price come down into this zone. Now what we'd then be looking for within this is that this is A, this is B, and this is C, looking for continuation to the downside here, where if we just overlay this, and I'm going to just turn this off so it's a bit tidier, what you'd be looking for is that this is a completed move here, looking at an A wave, looking for this as a B wave to the upside, and then looking for another 3-wave move to the sorry, 5-wave move to the downside for the C wave. Now what we'd want to see here effectively if this is playing out is we want to see this high maintain at this 27,391 level. Then we want to see price actually start to break down from these zones, looking for this C wave lower down here. Now it is possible that there's another push to the upside here where this becomes A, B, and C, where we could actually look to possibly even come up into some of these highs. Now this would be important if we look to actually sweep some of these highs up here, because then it would invalidate the idea of the more bearish count, which we're going to go over in a second. But until we actually do, we need to just be very careful here that we could actually still look to extend to the downside. Now if we were to move up, given the current structure here, our 1-to-1 would actually be up here towards this zone of this 26,411. Alternatively, if we do look to push up to this golden pocket, this would be a 1.236. And then if we did have to look up to move up towards this 1.618, that would actually be a 0.786 retracement up here towards this 26,943. So if we do see price actually start to push to the upside here, I would be keeping an eye on this channel. I'd be keeping an eye on these highs that we have up here, and there's potentially some other zones that we're going to go through in a second that we could also find has confluence with this as a possible zone. Now what we'd be looking for here effectively is, like I said, this is W, this is X, and this is Y. Now that could potentially be a Y wave completed, or alternatively what we could have here is that we are looking for this as a B wave. So we're going to have to be careful about that. I'll explain that now. So if we do see this 1-to-1 to the downside, this 24,623 would be a 1-to-1 move off of this 0.618 over here. So keep an eye on those levels. Okay, so just going over these options again, what we're looking for here is that either this X wave is completed here, and we're looking for a 3-wave move to the downside for a Y wave. But the problem is in this, then we'd want to have A, B, and C for this as a Y wave. So it's possible that we could start to see something like that develop here, where possibly this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Something like this is a diagonal. We would just see 3-wave moves playing out, but we don't really have that information at the moment. Alternatively, if this actually develops into a 1, 2, 1, 2, what this could mean is that this Y wave could actually end a little bit lower down here. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But at the moment, like I said, what we want to see is how this structure plays out. If we see this as ABC, X, A, B, C, and then we get pushed down like this, it becomes more likely that this is actually a corrective structure, and we could actually still look to push back up one more time. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. Now, if we do start to break down more impulsively here, what we need to be cautious of is that we still have that potential of that bearish count, where we could actually argue that from further back here we have a 1-2. Now this would actually be looking at this in this way. We're treating this as 1-2 from back here, and what this would then be looking for is effectively a deeper third wave towards this 22,346. Now the way that I'm currently looking at this is that we would be looking at a series of 1s and 2s if we are looking at this more bearish count here, where we're actually treating this as a 1-2, 1-2, and then we're actually looking for this deeper third wave. So now within this count, what we'd be looking for is this 24,076 for confirmation. And the way that we'd have to look at this move from over here is, if we're looking at this as looking to break down in a bigger way, what we'd be looking for within this, because we're talking about this being 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. The problem is we could argue that this is a 4th over here, but we've actually had overlap, so that's not really my primary expectation here. It would make a lot more sense here that if we are looking to break down in this way, it would actually be as an extension in this manner. Now, invalidation of this comes by crossing this 26,783. If we see a move that comes up past this level, this would invalidate the idea, and then finally crossing this 27,391 would invalidate any idea of this being any kind of a motive wave, in, for example, a diagonal in this case. Now, if we do look to break down in this way, what we're looking for is effectively this high to hold, like I said, and we're looking for a 3-wave move. So our target box area for this is actually this 26,471 to this $26,060 level. Now, if we do see this as A, this is B, C, what we could actually see is a retest of the 786 zone here, in which case we could then potentially look for this deeper push to the downside. Though we need to also be aware that we have actually come up here to just below this 0.78, 0.618 already. So we could actually see price just fall directly away here. If we are looking at price actually looking to fall away, what we could actually start to see here is that this is a 1-2, this is a 1-2, we start to see 3-4-5, 4-5, and then that could potentially look to push us down towards this 1-6-1-8. So this is going to be our key level here. This is going to be what looking for that direct breakdown here, where we're actually looking for a bigger 5-wave move off the high, in which case this 23,987 would actually be our confirmation of a bigger impulse to the downside. We would then see a 4th wave and a 5th wave towards this 23,791 to this 23,485. And then we'd also see an additional 4th and a 5th looking to push us down into this zone of this 23,430 to this 23,039. Now, if I overlay these two counts, what we can see that is this would actually look to push us way down past this zone that we're looking for here of this 24,076, and possibly push us closer towards this 22,231 as a 2.618 of this move here. And that would indicate that, you know, we're within a 3rd wave that's extending out here. So we need to just be careful. This bearish situation is still possible for as long as we maintain these highs here, but I am still more drawn to that idea of having this as a bigger X wave. We'll have to see exactly how the price plays out, but the key difference here is if we see this is W, this is X, we see ABC to the downside. What I want to see then is a 5-wave move up. Now this 5-wave move, if it's a flat, what we need to see for confirmation is the cross of this low. If this is, however, WX, and then we just have this as a Y wave, what we'd then be looking for is a 5-wave move to the upside that looks to find support above the low that it sets. So that's going to be our longer term thing we're looking out for here. Need to just keep an eye on it. So having a look at the weekly CPR lines here, what we can see is that these have printed a new set of lines here between this 26,058 and this 26,377. Now, if we look at some of the targets here that we have below us, the R1 is sitting towards this 25k region, the R2 towards this 24,193, and the R3 towards this 23,018. Now, what we are looking out for here is that if price continues to, so since we've actually had these printed, we did come up into this and then we actually started to move away. If we did have to reject off this level, I would be looking out for this R1 line as a potential zone we could be looking for to push to the downside here. And then alternatively, if it does look to push down lower, this 24,185. So alternatively to this idea, if we do see price actually break back above these CPR lines, what we could see is price could actually be gravitated towards this S1 line, which is sitting here towards this 27,101, the S2 line here towards this 28,270, and the S3 line here towards this 29,127. Now, if we are looking at these, the spread is not that tight, but it is quite tight here. So potentially this could mean that we still see a bit of volatility this week. Obviously, we do have a lot of news coming out, so we need to just be aware of that. If we do see price move to the downside, I will be looking at for some of these lower levels here. Now, aligning with that, we were talking about the possibility on the monthly pivot points here, that we can see that we are currently on the R1 line. If we start to lose this, what we could actually see is price could start to be gravitated towards this R2 line. Now, it doesn't mean that it has to hit this. These are just potential zones we can see price pivot off of. If we had to see price actually just break this line, come back into this channel, I still would be on the lookout for that potential that we could look to find support, because this is a monthly CPR. It doesn't mean that we have to come down to these levels directly. We can see price actually, you know, jump around and do a couple of things within here. So if we did see price actually still fall down here, I would still be on the lookout for that idea of this as a corrective structure here, in which case what we could then see is price actually be gravitated primarily back up to the R1 line, which would be this 25,417, or alternatively the central CPR line sitting towards 27,396 to this 27,825. And then looking to see whether we actually manage to find support here, or we just reject off this level and then look for that continuation down. If we do see price push back above this, then I would be keeping an eye on this S1 line here at this 29,417, S2 at this 31,602, and this S3 at this 33,425. Looking at the Ichimoku chart here, what we can see is that we're currently fighting with the bottom of this cloud. Now we are currently below the conversion line and the baseline, so this could be a bearish situation here where we actually see price actually start to reject to the downside. Alternatively, if we do manage to hold this low, what we could still see is that idea of price looking to push up. Now the top of this cloud is sitting towards us 26,385. This would tie into that idea of having that connector wave here as A, B, and C. Now this can always find support again above this point and then continue to develop into something else. But until we actually see that, we need to just be cautious that at the moment we just have corrective structure up. Now if we do look to push back to the upside, we could reject off this cloud or potentially this center channel line that we have here that we've been respecting. So I would be keeping an eye on those two levels. Once again, on the 4 hourly, we do have the conversion line above us towards 26k, the baseline at 26.4. What we're looking for is the potential that if we do see a bigger move to the upside, what we could see is an interaction with this 4 hourly cloud on the bottom here towards this 26,537, and that would be looking at that possibility of actually seeing a move up here towards that 1-to-1 level and then looking to actually move into that cloud. So I'd be keeping an eye on this. If we do see price move up here just in a 3-wave move, we could actually see a rejection off these zones. On the 8 hourly, what we can see is the conversion line is towards this area of this 1-to-1 up here towards this 26,380. So keeping an eye on that, as well as at the baseline up here towards this 26,900. We have the top of this or bottom of this cloud here towards this 27,323 and the top end of this cloud towards this 27,915 level. So if we do see price actually move up in a bigger way here, A, B, and then we see this as a C wave, this cloud is going to align with that idea of that triple top here, and then potentially if we're looking for that channel retest, top of the 8 hourly cloud is going to have confluence with that. Now as we were talking about previously on the daily here, what we can see is we still have support below us here towards this 25,279. So if we just see price actually fall down here one more time like this, what we could actually see is that, you know, possibly we could argue this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here, something like this, in which case, you know, that could actually look to retest this, break these lows, retest this zone, look to retest this 25,200, and then actually look for that possibility of that continuation up still. So that's still not invalidated, that idea of that flat like we discussed, you know, but we need to see how price reacts. If we fail to hold this zone and we actually break through, I'd be watching for the potential of actually finding resistance on this on the flip side. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.